ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिवेदविभागे व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. Salutations to Dakshinamurti, that Guru who is like the all-pervading space. He manifests in different forms like the Lord, the Guru, and the individual souls. So it's the same Chaitanya or consciousness which is manifesting in different forms. And that consciousness,
Thank you. Anyone wants to say anything about anything? Or say anything about nothing? This Chaitanya, this consciousness, it is very easy to read and to understand any scripture, and if you have reverence to the teacher or to the author, or you come from that culture or sect or whatever, then you will say, oh yes, I believe in it, and that is true. But to know it as your own experience is a very different thing. Though I should say that it's a bit easier for someone, a seeker, who can at least first believe, even though it is intellectual understanding. But even that belief helps us to go that path. Otherwise, if you don't believe, you will not take that path. You will always have doubts whether I don't trust this teacher, I don't trust this teaching. Maybe I might be wasting my life in a teaching like this, and at the end I find that it's all just fake or fluke. So belief and faith is a very, very important aspect of anyone's spiritual journey. And so you can see that people come from different religions, sects, conditioning, and what they believe, they actually get that. And you will find it strange, but I'll tell you this, it's a very, very true thing that if you don't believe in non-duality and you don't believe in all these things, and you believe in some other place where you will go with this ego mind-body complex, 100% you will go there if you work on it. No doubt about it. So Bhagavan used to say, if you believe in heaven, you believe in hell, you believe in some other loka, they will exist for you. He will create. That God is so merciful. He will create for you according to your belief system. He will create something for you, and you will go there and you will do whatever the way it works. Whatever laws or karma or conditioning, it will continue. Now the question comes, if you believe it will happen, and everyone is right. That's why all religions, the way they speak about that there's heaven or there's hell or there's this loka and that loka and whatever words and different, it will happen to you. But, and Bhagavan comes to this, but that ego will survive in everywhere. That ego will take you there, and ego will enjoy there, or ego will suffer there, whatever it has to happen. But the game continues. Maybe from this earthly journey, you might go to some heavenly journey, but the ego is surviving and the dream continues. So whether you want this dream to continue in different forms and shapes and places, or you want to finish it off, that is what it is. So non-duality or Advaita or a Jativad, or what Bhagavan is saying, is path only for someone who wants to end all concepts, all conditioning, spiritual concepts, everything, who wants to finish it off. Then you have to look at this level. This is not even level, but yes, again, it is your own understanding about things. You go to some other group, you pick up any sect, they will have some rules, some theories that it will take 7 births before you can get to moksha, or you have to go to that loka first, and then from there, at their hierarchy, then you will go to somewhere else, something or the other. And you might doubt that are they true, or I am true, or there is some third reality is there. But the thing is that everything is true. What you believe becomes true for you. This is that. You can call it mercy, or you can call whatever you want to call it. Because, if you come from Christianity, Jesus will keep coming in your dreams or in front of you, or angels or whatever. If you believe in Krishna, then Krishna will come to you, he will play with you. So whatever you believe, your mind creates that and gets you. But it is all in the domain of the mind only. So it is not a freedom. It is a spiritual bondage then. Whatever your belief system is. Here comes non-duality. Now you can call this also a belief system to start with. Because you right now you don't know. So you believe that this is something. Actually this is nothing, but for believing that nothing also, you have to create a concept or a belief that someone achieved, someone reached, or someone knew. And that's what I am also thinking. That perfect bliss, perfect happiness. So you have to believe, and then you believe, and then you work on it, and then it happens. It is exactly like, let's say you choose a discipline and you want to become that, then you will become that only. You can't become anything else. I remember when I was doing medical training, and I don't know, maybe I was doing some higher advanced studies after year 12. I think Vidya is mentioning there is some voice is not clear. But anyway, let's hope that it gets clear. Few of my friends who were in engineering streams, they already finished their studies and they were earning. And I was still studying because study is so long. And someone said to me, look, why you are taking so long? Like, what sort of career it is, And you can feel frustration that, what I have chosen. But this is the way it is. You choose a path and it will reap benefits in its time and in its own way. You can change lanes if you want to. That's up to you. But whatever path you choose, it has its own, you can call it limitations, like the way it takes, the time it takes, the way it works. If you see so many of these things people believe in, it does not get rid of the ego, but it needs some other austerities and things, and you get to it. Here, actually, you can call it last freedom. Here, you are at stake. You have to finish. So in others, you stay and you reach, you achieve, you see, you enjoy or suffer or whatever. Here, to reach there, you have to finish. You have to disappear. If you are ready for that, then only non-duality or Advaita is for you. If you want to hold on even the smallest part of your desire or ego, then it's better to look in other shops and get something else, because it is a big wastage of time spending where you have to finish yourself. You are at stake, nothing else. So, this is the end of all stories. This is like after you have believed in some type of story and you have achieved, you have gone to some other heavenly world or abode or achieved or powers or whatever miracles. It is beyond miracle, where all the miracles end, where everything ends, where the dream ends, where only light is there, where you are that light, if you are interested in that, and where there is no other. If you can call yourself and you can see yourself as that which you only can imagine right now, because no word can take you there, no language can take you there, nobody can explain it. If somebody can explain it, definitely he is not there, or it is undescribable, unexplainable, but it can be known by that only which it is. And the one who wants to know has to finish. The one which wants to reach is the obstacle. Because if you see everything you can achieve by this ego in this world, everything except knowing the self. To know the self, this ego has to disappear. How will it disappear? It will disappear only if you want to know the self. And this self will make it disappear. And self will absorb this all mind and ego and all this concept into it. When the self gives darshan to a person, that person disappears. Or you can say it is like a magic wand. It makes that ego as that ultimate reality. And the ego finishes off. But that can only happen when there is only very thin, subtle ego is left, like almost finished. So all the preparation of a seeker in non-duality is to finish the story, not believing on the story of body-mind, not counting on this happened to me, I suffered. You can still talk about the story of this body-mind, but without attachment, without any suffering, without any pride, just like that. You can still talk about the story, but disinterested as of a stranger. No intimacy and no possessiveness of that story. And that can only happen slowly and gradually in most of us. It takes time. Sometimes there are moments of very, very deep experiences, which some people call as satori or the consciousness, because almost ego disappears, or it is so thinned out that contentment, that bliss just dawns, and then maybe that subtle mind is still playing and it comes up. And then you come back to it. So more you have these types of realization experiences, each experience almost cuts down the ego. And it can be a slow process for a lot of people. And in this slow process, mind keeps thinning out, and then just left is that pure bliss. No honor of the body mind. the body mind without any ownership. So when the body mind is without any ownership, then who is enjoying the bliss? The body mind cannot claim. Mind has no clue. Intellect is dissolved with that ego. Then who owns the body mind? Nobody. Then who can protect that body mind? Who can be the protector of the body mind? Nobody. No individual entity. The same protector of whole what you see with these eyes is the protector of that also. And that knowledge is you only. Not as a person, not in any form, but just that a pure intelligence, you can call it. A jnani cannot even pinpoint where he or she starts or ends. Leave the body. Some people say that self is in the heart. No, that is not true. Heart is the area where you focus to know the self, from where the mind erupts and creates this whole world. But the mind where it is playing this whole show is only self. It is a paradox. Till you believe in this word as real and as separate from you, you will never know the self. Whatever you can do. The moment you know the self or self knows itself, the word loses its all potency coming from the mind. Because the mind has no clue about you. To know this truth, there is no other way but to keep quiet in that pure silence, when we are not giving any work to the mind. Wisdom dawns. Something shifts and stabilizes in this awareness. How it happens, when it happens, what is the method, what is the correct method. Nobody can say that. People can only say the way they have reached to the summit, how they have felt that bliss, that eternal bliss. So all methods are right. But all methods have to pass the same test. Getting rid of the ego. You can adopt any method under the sun. All methods work for culmination of ego. So the test is very easy for everyone to understand. Till you think you have an ego, you cannot know it. So you don't have to confirm from anyone. Confirmation will come from within. Ego is the veil in front of pure self. Ego disappears, and what it is always the same. We have created this screen because of individuality, because of the conditioning of Maya, this illusion. And conditioning is not of this birth, it is continuing for so long. And conditioning is not of one individual, it is conditioning of the whole world. Rarely someone has opening. Rarely. And that someone with opening is not always a teacher or a guru or tells others. Maybe few people know. Maybe he's not interested in anyone. Like Lakshman Swami in Tiruvannamalai, an enlightened soul, he never met anyone. His doors were always closed. You can't enter inside. So I don't know how many people got any benefit of his direct benefit, I should say. So it is a very rare moment when someone breaks through this opening and can tell others what is on the other side or how to be on the other side. But whom should he tell? 99% or almost all people in this world have zero interest in it. He is the only fool living in this world, still in a body. Very few might be interested to know what is on the other side. And those very few who are still interested to know probably might not attempt to take that path, or for the ego it's a huge risk because they might lose everything, and they will lose everything what they think they are. So all your life you have worked so hard to create an identity, and now your plan is to leave a legacy before you die. And someone says you have to wipe off this whole story. Your autobiography should be just blank pages. How can you believe? That signifies that all my life was just wasteful. Whatever I've collected, created, what I thought. So the one who is ready to give up everything can only transcend, because whatever you have to give up is all in the domain of mind only. In reality, you're not giving up anything. You are only giving up your fake reality. But for ego, it is everything at stake for an individual. The individuality can't know it. Because what we are as a person, we are only a bundle of experiences, good and bad. And these experiences are colored by our conditioning, our mind. If something has happened 10 years back and there were 10 people, probably everyone's experience might be different in that same event, depending on their conditioning. So what is reality? Nothing is real. If tomorrow someone asks you to write a true autobiography, no one can write. Mind will remember what it wants to remember. Though you might be honest, 100% honest in writing everything what mind remembers, but mind will remember what it wants to remember. And mind will remember the way it wants to remember. So we see everything from the colored glasses of the mind. Only a jnani, an enlightened person, sees the world as it is, without any attributes, without any adjectives. Because he takes away all the sensations from the word looks so blissful. The word seen through the jnani's eyes is only bliss, without duality, without othersness. He is so much so absorbed in that bliss of that awareness. He is so awake. Awake to an extent where that awakened state, what we call as awakened, is also sleep for him. Actually, this waking state is in the spell of ego. And it revolves only around one individual body. But for a jnani, he becomes so expanded, infinitely expanded, that you can say that that ego disappears in this infinite expansion and becomes everything. Or you can also call as that individual ego disappears and he becomes everything. Or you can also say that the moment that personality goes away, there is only presence of pure awareness, our true nature, which is nameless, which is formless. So the only sin which every individual is doing right now is claiming that I own this body mind, one body mind. Though it is true that there is a mind given to each body through which it looks. But ownership is something different. Using something and owning it, there are two different things. Like, nowadays, a lot of machines are being given on lease in departments. So the department or the individual is not owning it. And all its repair, warranty, and whatever is with that outside source. And they replace it when it is torn away or it's dead or whatever. And then you get another one. It is exactly the same with this body mind. It is on lease. We don't own it. And when it gets torn away, it gets older, we get a new one. But we never own it. The moment we turn from this lease agreement to ownership, just nobody has told us, but just that's what we think. And we all think. And we have all grabbed one body mind with ownership. And then we are fighting with each other. How stupid the whole world is, if you see. And nobody tells anyone that, look, what a stupid concept you have brought. You're owning this, I am owning this, I am owning, and then we are fighting. But we are all having on lease. Nobody owns it. Just like your rental cars, when you go on trips to see places, you have to return it. Then you are empty. And how nicely we keep those rental cars, No scratch. We are so careful. We keep it clean because then we have to pay the penalty if we use it wrongly. If we misuse that car, we have to pay for it. How badly we use this body mind. We have no control on the thoughts and we just go berserk, and we can think even about killing someone or insulting someone or acquiring the whole world, or whatever it can be, without any shame. And then we say we can't realize. So how arrogant we can be, full of ego, and then we want to know the God. Always remember snake and rope. Till you are seeing the snake, you can't be the rope. It is the same. Both cannot exist at the same time. You can't see the rope till you are seeing the snake. So the snake has to go. When the ego disappears, then what is left is truth. You can't have best of both worlds. Understand there is no bridge between the two, and this is the biggest issue with all religious aspirants, even religious teachers. They all try to create a bridge, and they all fail badly. And there are hundreds of examples around us. Don't think they know the truth. They were just going to know the truth. And the moment they tried to create the bridge, they all doomed. They all had failure. Yog bhrasht. And they fall so badly that no one can say. Who can save a wrong teacher? You can still save a seeker because he can go to a right teacher. But if the teacher is corrupt, who can save him? If the ego becomes the teacher, then who will teach that ego? Where is humbleness? Where is humility? Best guru in this world, whom you can always trust, is your own self. Always look within. If something you can feel from your heart that this is the truth, only accept that. Otherwise, move on. If you can't find anyone in this world whom you can trust or you can have faith, don't worry. Stay in your own solitude. Look within. Go deep in your own seeing in your heart. When you stay there, ego starts melting away. And that's all is needed. You keep quiet. This keep quiet is so beautiful mantra given by Bhagavan. Keep quiet means no complaints, no rights, only responsibilities, only following whatever is happening, whatever needs to be done, without doership, without waiting to get all the awards, or if the awards are not coming your way, then not complaining, not even expecting. Just keep quiet. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing or not doing, whatever your circumstances, just watch. Be the uninvolved witness in everything. Whether you are an employer, employee, whatever, work for someone, people work for you, doesn't matter. You stay as nobody within you. Act from that nobody and see how beautiful the life becomes. All this heaviness in the mind, which plays, which makes people very fidgety, uneasy, restless, is all feeling that I am a doer. So there is always this apprehension whether I would perform well or not. Whether you are in corporate world or whatever type of job, performance review. Even if the job requires performance review, critical appraisal, whatever it is, you don't have to tell your boss, I am an uninvolved witness. You don't have to say that. You have to be that. And see how beautiful the life would be. Maybe you would be kicked out of the job. Who knows? Maybe you will end up in a job which is full of bliss, full of nice people. Who knows? But you have to trust. You have to be that witness within you. You have to have that much of courage, faith in that absolute. Even if it throws you into a place which you think it is hell, just believe. I think Amit has written something. He wants to say something, Amit?
Oh, no, your example was, when you said it, I was thinking of that.
Oh.
I mean, that's just, it's such a frightening coincidence.
Yeah, that is the same
Maybe
energy
it's
field.
grace. It's
Amit,
grace.
it is that same energy level, that is what satsang means. It takes you into that energy level. It gives you that shower in that energy, for everyone it is the same. And I'll tell you, when you even pay respect by talking about that, even though you might have some ego, the process you recognize, you contemplate on it. This entity, this fake entity starts dissolving. And the work continues. The work continues because of your humbleness, because of your interest in it, because you love it. That God from inside embraces you and you become one with that absolute. And when you become one with that absolute, every pore of your body, so-called movements of the body, or your speech, or your eyes, or your actions, everything speaks about that Lord. Everything of you becomes tuned to that higher self, that pure self, that untainted self. that Brahman. My only humble request to everyone is that come out of all scriptures and books and teachings and be that what they talk about. When someone reads it, you feel that within. When someone talks about it, you know that they are talking about you only, nothing, no one else. Become so much so that all these teachings are talking only you. Be that. Otherwise, there is no fun. What is the fun of reading someone else's experiences? Useless. Then these books are, I think, throw away in the bin. Because I'm not interested in knowing what other has gone through or his bliss, and that will only create jealousy, or that shows inferiority complex, that I don't even know anything. And who knows, maybe these are all big lies in these books. But be that when anyone reads it or you read it, it just confirms your own experience. The way it happened with Bhagavan, he got it, and when people read it, he just confirmed it and added his own experience into it. Because this indescribable can be spoken in thousands of ways, because there is no one way to talk about it. Speech is always short. Speech is like such a big filter. To come to this speech, you have to borrow mind, create a speech. It is like Chinese whisper. It does not stay the same. It is like it might be snow at Gangotri, but by the time that water of Ganges reaches, it's so much of mixing is already happened in it. And so Bhagavan says it is only the silence which can convey the truth of what we all are. Awareness have no language. If awareness has to convey to someone, it can only convey by silence. And if it has to convey in speech, it has to borrow from this Maya only. It has to convey from a body and a mind. For you to know the self, you don't need any language. To know your inner self, pure self, you have to abide in your own pure silence. Be that silence, know that truth. And when the body speaks and when the body moves, you don't get confused. Once this knot is being broken or disentanglement has happened with the body, and process is very simple, by keeping quiet. Quiet in a sense that this is for me, this is for that, this is mine, this is all these thoughts which only serve ego. When you discard, when you don't entertain any gossip, even in scientific terms, we call it now ego circuit or default mode network, which you can trace in the brain on functional neuroimaging. The moment you start staying as witness, this circuit starts disappearing in the brain. And a new circuit starts shining in the brain, even in functional neuroimaging, attention circuit. Just attention, pure attention. No imageries. More you stay in that silence, more it creates silence. More you enjoy your bliss, bliss becomes exponential. So much so that it just percolates around you. You don't know anything in this bliss. Actually, in worldly sense, you become very, very unclever or non-smart person. But then who cares with that smartness where you are not happy? And this happiness is very different from the happiness which people get. Though that happiness which we get on enjoyment of any object of desire is because now for that moment we are desireless when we touch it. But there is still an excitement in that happiness. Here there is no excitement. It is just calmness, peacefulness. That excitement of achieving something is shooting up and then coming down and then becoming very slow and depressed. Fluctuation. Here is samatva bhav, it's always the same, equanimous. And this is in everyone's reach. It is everyone's true nature. But we have to leave hand of mind. We have to give away this friendship with mind. And that can be a very hard task for some people, to give away this friendship with mind. When you give away friendship with mind, you can be at materialistic loss at many places, losing some friends, losing some jobs, losing some opportunities. But then maybe you have acquired all these things by wrong means, by that ego. It's better you have left all those things. And then that pure intuitive awareness becomes in charge of your life. And it takes you in its own way. It might get you more materialistic things, or it might further take away materialistic things, but it has no value for you. Because now you are into that detached awareness where nothing matters, whether thing stays or goes. Until that happens, everything in life is a business. Even dealing with family members or friends, or what we call as personal life, everything is a business, give and take. Only giving occurs in truth when ego dies. Then you don't want anything from anyone for any reason. Journey from person to this pure self is a journey from business transactions to just giving. Pure self doesn't know how to take anything from anyone for any reason. If someone is selling something in name of his spirituality, it is the biggest crime. But I think it is not a crime because the one who is selling is still an ego and he's selling it as an item. The one who is egoless cannot sell it because there is no business for him. So, whatever you think is happening around you, which you think is a business in spirituality, is coming from the ego mind only. It is so clear, there is no doubt about it. Wherever for enlightenment you have to spend money, you might have to spend money, let's say, to travel to meet someone, or a room is hired and someone has to pay and everyone has to contribute. That's a different thing. Then it's just sharing the cost of anything, whatever it is. But if it is a business, then better to stay in your room and go within and find yourself there. No amount of money spent in spirituality can get you there. Even if someone is having millions or billions of followers, doesn't matter. Because ego attracts ego, or the same like-minded people attracts like-minded. Your guru is always with you. Never leaves you. And he wants to teach you. And all knowledge is within us. Okay, tell me how the first person got enlightenment. Was there any scripture? Someone must have, where the first scripture came from. Someone must have realized, and then he wrote it down. So who is the first guru? First guru is our own self. If we keep looking for gurus outside and neglect this guru, how can we be there? And to enter into this guru, we have to go without ego. The external gurus also in ancient times in India were the same. For 10, 15, 20 years, you have to keep washing dishes and, do seva for the guru, and you have to living in forest, all the hard work. And then after 20 years, when you are very humble now, no arrogance left, then he will say slowly in your ear, Jai Shri Ram or something, and then you get enlightened. Because all those years, he is trying to get rid of your ego. And then he gives you a mantra and you get the story is done. Right now, there are not that many places in the world. And if someone starts doing it, the Human Rights Commission and all those people will come and they say he's doing brainwashing and he's treating them as slaves, and someone can complain, It is very hard to be a guru like this, that guru will be in jail, who is trying to get rid of your ego, he will be in jail. So better you get rid of your ego on your own, That's why every guru is nowadays so polite, But if you read all these gurus were like having a big danda in their hand, stick, used to even beat, even used to slap. Because some people's egos are so strong that you have to give that type of treatment. Now you can't do this. We all know our old, bad, you can say, or good olden days, when we all had a caning by our teachers in school. Now you can't do this. When I go to parent teachers meeting, they are so polite, my God. And they always say, your son is very good, but he can do better. They don't know anything else. They never complain about your kids. I can't believe. Our teachers always complained about us, and our parents said, you have full right to do what you want to do with this kid, bloody you. There was no one with no support to you. So things have changed. So everyone around you will pester your ego, and and no one will help you to get rid of this illusion, So you have to work your own self to get rid of this ego. So it is hard bit, very hard in that sense, because there is no external help in that sense. But till this ego is there, you will only see the snake, because this ego is like a snake. It is very selfish. It is the only obstacle in knowing our truth. Truth is there, always the same. And more you are successful, more big our ego is. I'm the best doctor. You check every doctor. I was checking a doctor in India for one of my friends who is going for a neurosurgery. So I choose a city. I thought this city is closer to his house. And then I was writing neurosurgeon. And then I was reading about everyone was best neurosurgeon in India. All of them. I looked 10 or 11. They were all best. No one is second best. Now tell me how the ego will dissolve if one of them wants to work on their ego. How it will dissolve? How long will it take? And is there any scope? This all our CV, resume, biodata, what is this? It's a huge burden on all of us. More you're successful, more is a problem. Simple villager, it's easy. A person who had a lot of failures in life, it's much easier for him. A person who is a bit depressed in life, it's much easier for him. The person who has gone through some tragedy, he's not much interested in this worldly affair, so he can go within. But for a successful person, it is very difficult. All the time try to be the last person in the row whom nobody knows. Be that humble. Be full of humility. And pray for that grace from within. And keep quiet. Don't complain. And see how quickly this wisdom will dawn on you. It's not something very difficult. Right understanding, right path, and you can get it. And what is the benefit of knowing it is that bliss. I think Amit wants to say something. Yes, Amit.
No, I'm glad you said the person who is slightly depressed is in a better position, because some days, you look at, you don't feel things, and it's okay to be that. I think you're also saying, just go inside. I think it helps in cleaning the ego. I certainly feel certain days where, the external part is small in me, but it gets to to not necessarily feeling about it, but it is what it is.
I have never ever seen any jnani jumping around like the happy people. Have you seen happy people in the world? They jump and they throw a party. Yeah. Have you seen any jnani jumping around? I have never seen one, but it's good to see if there is one. And in Hindi, there is a word udasin. In Sanskrit, it is very, very revered word, udasin bhav, which is calmness, peaceful. In Hindi, we have corrupt. Udas means depressed, actually. You ask anyone who knows Hindi. If you say he is udas, means he is depressed. To that extent, and that is very true, because a jnani is not jumping. So he looks like calm, maybe serious, but he's happy. He's just okay. So what Amit is saying is good.
Indifferent.
Sorry?
Indifferent.
Yeah, indifferent person is also a bit different from others, He's not having too much of expressions of joy, in a sense. Thank you, everyone. So let's keep our hopes bright and continue working on it. And it's all our internal work. No animosity to anyone in this world. Whatever they are doing or not doing, it's up to them. So keep yourself disentangled from all the dramas happening around you. Even if the mind goes somewhere, just be the uninvolved witness to things and keep your energy in your heart. And slowly and gradually this process continues. Have faith in your own self. Never lose faith from here, and never stop working here. And one day all this work, all these efforts will also disappear. And what is left is your own bliss. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm so pleased that so much of energy is continuing for so many of years together now. It is so good to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you, Sanjay.